All right, everybody, welcome back to the first season of the 2024. Um, we'll call it gaming podcast, gaming challenge between the three of us. My name's Connor. We also have Jamie and Stone here. I'll pass it to them in a second if they want to introduce themselves. But before I do that, I want to just do a quick recap of how we finished last season. I know we got to celebrate Jamie's major victory, but Jamie won 76 and 66 with 7 units of positive growth there. And then Stone had 61 and 60, and then I finished the bottom at 42 and 56. So, Jamie, I'll pass it over to you. The floor is yours as our reigning champion.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to another winning year. I think I'm gonna stay along the same betting strategies. If you know, then you know we're gonna fade some terrible rush defenses, and we love our running backs. That's my style, and I'm gonna stick to it this year. We'll see how it plays out.
Awesome. Well, if it worked out the same as last, that's a tough number to beat. 76 is a lot of wins, and you build up to a place where I thought we would never get to. So, kudos to Jamie, and then I'll pass it over to last year's second place, Stone. And yeah, so if you gambled with those two guys last year, you would have won money and you would have had a great season. If you gambled with me last year, you would have been miserable. And we're going to try to put ourselves in position that it doesn't happen again. Um, 42 and 56 is a really bad way to start the first season. You almost need an entire season to come back from that. Um, but I'm looking forward to it. I don't really have any modifications in my style, which is probably not a good sign, but we're going to roll it out. Just a reminder how it works is we're going to start in the beginning of the season with 2 picks each, 2 on the game side, 2 on the player prop side. You have to win both of those games to get another pick the next week. You can never drop lower than 2, but as long as you're winning, you add up more and more wins as the season goes. And the winner for the entire season is who has the most wins. Now, I don't think you could do we call it a gambling podcast for football without doing futures. I think that's a big component of it, and it kind of gives us two things here. First one, it gives you some life tokens in your back pocket for later down in the season if it's close. You're going to be looking back thinking, oh, if he wins this one, he wins out. It should build competitiveness. Now, Jamie kind of blew us out last year, so the competitiveness was not there, but it should do that. It'll also put us in position to see what each other are thinking before we have to pick our game bets and our player bets for week 1. And the point of that is to kind of put us in a place where you can't have the same bet as someone else. So if someone goes first and takes your bet and you get sniped or they take it from you, you won't be able to really, come back from that. So at least we'll all have an understanding of what everyone's thinking moving into our week 1 picks. The order for this entire episode is going to go Jamie, Stone, and then myself, which is the standings from last season. And I'll kind of get down off my soapbox now, and I'll pass it over to Jamie for his first team future of the year.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do for my first team future? We're going for the three-peat. The Chiefs to win the Super Bowl at plus 500.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Plus
think it was
500.
exactly plus 600 last year. I think I put $5 on it, 130. So I just don't see another team that could knock them off right now. We'll see.
For those that didn't follow along last year as closely as that, Jamie had beat us by a lot, and then he had this one outstanding future, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, he added another 6 units on top of his winning season. So, yep, going back to the shed for that one. But Stone, you were second here. All right. That's not too far from me, so I'll keep my eye on that. Um, I'm gonna go with the Old Faithful, and I'm just gonna snipe this one from Jamie way in advance here. Both of us have the same favorite team, and I'm gonna say Commanders over 6.5 at
Ooh.
-130. And I I locked this. I was telling Stone a couple weeks ago we were drafting fantasy. I locked this in the summer when I thought they were going to trade for Brandon Ayuk, and now that doesn't seem nearly as likely or impossible. But since I've already locked it in, I'm going to ride it, and that was at -130 for that pick.
Yeah, so you didn't snipe me because I'm going to go and do our first head-to-head this season. I'm doing Commanders under 6.5 wins
Whoa.
at +110. Josh Harris is the owner. If it doesn't look like we're going to make the playoffs, he was part of the process. We're going to start tanking. They want to get a high draft pick, maybe get a tackle, some good players for Jaden Daniels. They know this year isn't the year. It's down the line. There's no reason to push for 7, 8 wins when you could, tank it and get a good first round pick, get some extra talent in there for next year.
That Jahan Dotson trade has a different perspective to me, and now that you've said that, but
Mm-hmm.
I
All
digress.
up here, buddy. Excellent analysis. That was going to be my third pick if it got around to me. So I definitely like that one as well.
All right. Your guys' strategy is a little bit different than mine. You guys are adding equity, and I'm laying chalk. And the chalk I'm going to lay next is Atlanta to win the division, and that's at -130. I don't think that's a very challenging division. They improved in their quarterback. They were in line for the division last year. They all fell off because of the quarterback, so they improved that. I could see them making a move later down the line for another wide receiver, another playmaker if they need it. But this seems like a really weak division for me. And in Atlanta, that was by far one of the fattest or chalkiest lines of a division winner at -130.
It'd be better with whoever they have at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to me. So someone has to suck, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
4.5 wins. I'm thinking the same thing. You start to stink, you want to go for that top pick. They need help, so I'm taking the Patriots under 4.5 wins, and I think I have that at even money. Let me double check that.
You guys really putting the equity on the board here with these plus numbers, and I'm out here playing it safe. Yeah, it is definitely making me question my strategy.
Yeah, confirmed even money there, plus 100.
All right. So I was in a similar. This is the most equity I'm going to have on my board here with my notes here, and I'm going to take it because you guys are scaring me, and I'm going to take the Rams to make the playoffs, and you guys are going to laugh at it. This is just even money, so that's the most I want on that. There's a lot of teams that make the playoffs. I think having them at plus money is a fine bet. Nakua being injured to start the season, I think Cooper Cup's going to have another phenomenal season, and they put themselves in position with the quarterback and the coach to be in the playoff hunt. And that's one I want to be holding later down the line.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is Sean McVay putting his two running backs in special team spots. I'm not sure why you would do that, but we'll see. No.
Yeah.
I think he's hoping that the new kickoffs aren't as violent, but it's just you're just risking further injury when you don't need to. So
That's what I was going to say. I think it would make sense for kickoffs the way they've changed it, but for punts, it just does not make a whole lot of sense. There's just
Nope.
guys just screaming down the field. So we'll see if it pays off. I want to be holding that ticket later down the line. I hope so. Jamie, final pick for the team side.
Final pick. I am going to put my faith in a rookie. I have the Bears to make the playoffs at -110. So a little chalk there. Yeah, I thought it'd be better too, but you got an old commander there on the D line. The defense was looking really good at the end of last season, so they only need a little help on the offensive side. They got a bunch of dudes over there to catch the ball from him. So I like those odds.
Their wins number has changed, or their odds on their win number has changed dramatically. When I first took notes of this weeks ago when we first met up, it was like -110 for 8.5. It's now down to -175. People are slamming the Bears right now, and I'm vibing that. Anyway, Stone. Mm.
I think this is a solid pick. I do want to jump on the you can't make your tight end your number one target. Who won the championship the last 2 years? The the Bills are looking directly at the Chiefs. Like I want to build it like that. That's totally fair.
All right. Totally out on the Jets, though. I see. Last year you were vibing the Jets. So I'm going to take a different New York team. I think this team is also in tank central here. That's the Giants under 6.5 wins. This is the biggest chalk on the board, which I hate doing. I'm going to look back and these aren't going to hit, and I'm going to be sad that you guys would have all these units. I'm going to remember this for next year. I just don't think they have their quarterback. I think they spent too much money on them. They didn't play well last year, and I don't think they win 6 games. I think that if they get to 6, they'd be lucky. could be one of the worst teams in the league. And if they get close to that, there's no reason not to tank for one of these other quarterbacks that we're watching on Saturdays that look like they're the next best thing. So I'm going under 6.5. All right, so let's pivot over to the player side. We're going to go in the same order. Jamie's first. This is the benefit of winning the previous week or winning the entire season. So whenever you're ready.
For my first player feature, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry, over 1,000 rushing yards at -105. Some chalk there. The Titans' offensive line was horrid, and I think he's getting a huge upgrade. I think he easily clears this, even with his advanced age for running back.
Yeah. So this was not going to be my first pick, but after we have some statements made about the Bills, I'm actually going to take a rookie here. I'm going to take Keon Coleman to go over 675 yards, 0.5 yards in receiving. That's at -115. They lost almost 200 reception or 200 targets and then almost 2,000 receiving yards. They got to go somewhere. Yeah, they might go to the tight end. They might go to Cook. They might kind of go around. Coleman played really, really well last year at Florida State. It was a team I was tracking. He led them. He was he was their best player. It seemed like everything thrown at him he caught, and I think that he's going to link up quickly with the team. They just don't have anyone else, and then kind of take that a step further. You have to replace that somewhere. You can get him third for rookie receiving at +600, but this number, this 675, puts him seventh for rookies for receiving. I thought that was a weird statistic there. So that's what I'm taking first. I was worried someone was going to snipe it talking about the Bills. So, Jamie, back to you.
No, I'm not even sniffing the Bills. My player props we're huge reaches. So my next one, I'm gonna go CJ Stroud, most passing yards for the 2024 season, and that's at +600. He's got some weapons, and I think they want to air it out. It's a good mixture.
Really like.
Ooh. In the dome. Yeah, I saw that.
Mm.
That is a great stat. The only problem is if they're doing too well and they start having to run the ball to burn the clock. Yep.
All right. I'm going to kind of go in a different direction. I see what you guys are doing. I wish now I see that I went in the totally opposite direction with all this stuff, which is fine. I'm actually going to take Montez Sweat to hit his for sacks, which is over 8.75. I thought that was pretty low for someone that got 12.5 last year, had 6.5 just with the Bears. He was only there for half a season. I think their defense is good. I think they're going to be in a lot of tight games. The division is tough. and I like him to get over 8.75. That's at minus 110. I'm going to lock that one in.
Hey, I chimed in on the Bears, man. I hope he has a
Mhm.
good year too for my future.
All right, Jamie, back to you.
Going back to the old passing well, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels as the rookie passing leader at plus 300. So, I mean, this just leans back into my under pick for the Commanders. Like, the team's not going to be good. We're going to throw the ball a bunch. You saw that with Sam Howell. You know, Terry McLaurin was getting a bunch of garbage yards, in the fourth quarter. Let him air it out. Let him make mistakes. Let him learn. But he's going to have a bunch of opportunities. I think the Bears are going to be a little bit better, which means they're going to run a little bit more, which means less passing for them.
Yeah, I do think the Cardinals are going to be better this year. Kind of going back one pick from that with Daniels leading passer for the rookies. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin. I thought this number was wickedly low, and that was over 925.5 receiving yards at minus 125. He's gone over 1,000 the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years. I just don't have that in my notes.
3
And I
years.
think 3 years. So yeah, that seems right. And Daniels is probably the best quarterback that they've really had there, or at least I hope so, coming off the Heisman campaign. So I think he's going to get his targets. I don't know who else really they're going to throw to as far as superstar is concerned. And so I think he hits 1,000 again at 925. Gives me a little cushion. Mm-hmm.
It's something I touched on. Fourth quarter, garbage time. A lot of the teams, they're going to put their second string defense in and let McLaurin go to town when the game doesn't matter. So I think that's a great pick. Shifting back over to me, I'm going to go back to the RB well. I'm surprised no one touched this guy. Bijan, over 1,000 rushing yards, and that's at minus 110. Has a lot better QB. I think the offense is going to be better. I think the defense is going to be better. I think they want to get him the ball after the whole fiasco of not using him much last year, or, well, as much as they should have. So I like this pick.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great stat right there. That is why.
Yeah.
The fade.
I missed it. All right, final pick for the futures. I'm going to go also with a person on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go with Drake London to go over 1,000 receiving this year. 1,000 and a half, and that was at minus 125, which is the almost the biggest chalk of this. Again, upgraded quarterback. I think they win the division. I think, Kirk is coming in and he had a lot of great targets. I'm expecting him to kind of link up with London and him to have the best season of his career so far. Something he hasn't, quarterback like that, he hasn't had in his professional career. All right. I think that does it for futures. So we'll keep those in our back pocket. And we'll kind of move over to really the focus of the competition, which are the week by week picks. This week we both start. Everybody starts with 2 picks on the game side and the player side. If you get a winning percentage, you add a pick. If you get a losing percentage, you lose a pick. Now we don't go less than 2 picks, so we'll always have 2 picks. And then if you win the week, the following week, you get to pick first. That way you can prevent yourself from getting sniped. Or getting your pick sniped, kind of moving forward from there. With that being said, again, back to Jamie as he kind of leads us off, reigning champion. We'll go game side first.
Thank you, thank you. For the game side, my first pick, I'm going to go with the Bengals minus 8.5 versus the Patriots, and that's at minus 108. I think, again, I said this earlier. I don't like the Patriots. I think they're garbage. I think the Bengals, this is as healthy as they will ever be. You want Jamar Chase may or may not be on the field. I don't think that really matters. I think Joey B fully recovered from that knee injury. They come out and they just whoop the floor with these guys. I love Stoney pulling out this, the hidden gems of the travel and all that
Yeah.
stuff. That's a great pick. The only thing I'm going to caution is that Philly had a terrible secondary, and Green Bay has a terrible rush defense. Which they kind of it's strength versus weakness. Green Bay wants to pass, Philly wants to run. Um, right. I think I heard somewhere too that the team doctors told him not to sleep on the flight over.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some grumpy dudes.
I don't know what that's about, but I heard that too. So my first pick is this a line that moved. I loved it at minus 2.5. Now it's at 3.5, and it looks like the Steelers quarterback is not going to play, which or has a slight injury. I'm taking Atlanta minus 3.5 at home against the Steelers. I don't think that there's a revitalization of Russell Wilson's career here. I think they come out, have a really stagnant offense. Kirk is a full go, and I think they're going to want to showcase some of the guys they've been waiting 3 years, it seems, to actually have play. And I expect them to win this game handily, minus 108. Again, I loved it at 2.5, but the line has moved all week, and it seems like it might even get bigger. So lock that one in now.
I think
No, eventually you can't just keep throwing this. Yeah, you can't just keep throwing it at the wall and it stick. It's like
The magic runs out.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know.
There was a whole tracker of Russell Wilson's bathrooms in his house versus his TDs last year. I mean, he was who? I mean, like Deontay Johnson. He's not good. I know, but that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. He was throwing it. That guy's not good when on the Panthers. He's not going to do any better. And I think that's fine. A lot of people get paid, but
Totally.
I think Russell Wilson's going to be thrown to the same garbage receiver core with the
Yep.
same bad offensive line. I think Denver's wide receivers last year were much better than these Steelers wide receivers, and he couldn't do anything with those.
Mm-hmm. Also, I didn't get a chance to look. Maybe you guys will fill me in. Is Warren playing? It seemed like he'd been questionable. He's the only guy on the offense I think is like truly explosive, other than a deep pass to Pickens, which just is not going to happen with Russell as the quarterback. So, I, yeah, hopefully not this game. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. All right, Jamie, back to you.
Fair enough. All right, I'm going to get to the game tonight. I'm going to take the under. Ravens
Oh.
Chiefs under 47 at minus 108.
Say that one more. I just wasn't fast enough.
No, sorry. Under 47,
Mm-hmm.
and that was at minus 108.
Got it.
I just think, we saw in the playoffs, the Chiefs are going to want to control the clock versus the Ravens because they know the Ravens want to run. You control the clock, you have less time for the Ravens to operate. They're forced to pass. That's out of their comfort zone. I think both these defenses know the other offense. So I think it's just going to be a tight one, and I think it's going to be a slow, grinded out kind of game. Yeah, fade the Thursday games, but at the same time, yeah, they've had all offseason to prepare for each other. So I think that just helps the defenses out.
They're at home too, so. All
Yeah,
right,
they're one.
I'm gonna go ahead, Jamie. Sorry about
I was
that.
just going to say the Raiders are one of those teams where you're just kind of scratching your head, wondering what they're doing. You're not taking a shot at a rookie QB. You're putting some veteran back there to do what? To win like 8 games?
Oh,
I just don't like these middle of the pack.
well, they're making Adams happy. That's what they're doing, because if not, they're gonna lose the whole locker room and everything.
He's already unhappy. He's already lost. He wants to win and get paid and get the ball.
He's the one I'm gonna say will be in Atlanta by the end of the season. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Drop that nugget. That's a prediction. I'm going to take a scrappy team. I think is actually going to put up some offense this year with a team that's going to have that we've already talked about a couple times. I'm going to take the Arizona Buffalo game over 47. It seems like I'm the only one crazy enough to take an over on week 1, but there's got to be an over somewhere. 47 doesn't seem like too many. It's right above the average of what it is this week, and I think Arizona could come out and score some points early, and I think Buffalo could turn into that Josh Allen, heaving it all over the yard, and eventually we end up in a place where 47 is possible at the end of the game. So I'm taking that. That's at minus 110, and that's kind of all I got to say about that. So Yeah. Yeah, I like what Arizona did when they drafted Marvin Harrison. They kind of took the handcuffs off McBride. He'll be the number one. I think they can score some points. I don't know that they win, but they should be able to put some on the board and help out with that. So I'll pass it back over to Jamie for the player props for this week. He absolutely dominated this category last year with running backs, carried him all the way through um, to a easy victory in 2023. So I'll be interested to see what he comes up with this season.
Yeah,
But
what do you think the first pick is?
Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Oh, okay.
But we've touched on it across the board, and just recently, let me just file on over here to James Cook. I want his over on his rushing yards, 61.5 rushing yards, and that's at minus 115. Stone said it. The Cards have a terrible defense. Let me tell you, they had a bottom 3 rushing defense, and it got worse towards the end of the year. We also touched on the Bills. Don't have much in terms of wide receiver. They want to rush the ball. James Cook is going to be a 3-down back. I like this odds. Yeah, I hope they finally learn one of these years after watching them just waste Aaron Jones and Quadzilla that, give a running back like 15 or more touches. It's okay. You don't have to give them 10 and then completely stop it. I know both those guys were injury risks, but feed the beast.
All right. I also have my first pick as a running back here. A guy I really like this season. The highest percentage of explosive plays to touches from last year, and that is Spears, Tajay Spears. His rushing plus receiving this week is at 51.5. I think they're going to be losing this game. I'm not sold that the starter is going to be Pollard. I know they paid him some money, but I'm thinking he's going to get a lot more touches this season. That is less than Pollard has as far as the line is concerned at minus 115. But I think they get down. I think they put him in there. They get some explosive plays out of him on week one. He gets way past this number early in this game.
Solid pick. And that's surprising. More explosive plays than A-Chain?
Not more explosive, higher percentage. So he
Gotcha.
had like 150 touches. He had like however many, and it was a higher percentage of his plays were explosive plays. Misleading stat, certainly, but I'm gonna hang. I'm gonna hang on to that efficiency and hope to kind of catch lightning in a bottle. A kind of guy like A-Chain that could break that in 2 or 3 plays, depending on where he gets the ball at. So, anyway, pass it back to you.
For my second to last pick, I'm gonna go some chalk here because right before this podcast, I found a stat just can't pass up. I'm gonna take Travis Kelce over on his receptions at 5.5, and the chalk is minus 130. Dating back to 2018, he's hit this line every time by more than 2. Like
Bro,
he gets 7 receptions or more versus Baltimore, dating back to 2018. The same thing for his receiving yard line. I think it's at 58 around there. Every single game versus Baltimore, he's cleared that number. So there's a free pick, a little bonus action if you want to take that. And I always love to, take a pick on the first night of the season, get some action right away. Well, it's 5.5 receptions. I mean, he could literally, they could throw him a screen pass and he could get 2 yards. That's why I didn't go for the actual receiving yards, and I went more with the receptions. I think you saw in the Super Bowl, if he doesn't get touches, they're not winning. So at some point, they want to win the game. I know they want to save them for later, but you also need to get wins. Slinging it. I like it.
All right. I was torn on this one because I have every single pass catcher for the Atlanta Falcons written here on my sheet. So I'm gonna pick one. It's gonna kill me to do this. If I lose this, I'll be so disappointed. I'm gonna take the lowest one. I'm gonna take Darnell Mooney over 32.5 receiving at minus 115. He should be wide receiver number 2. Lowest number on the board. I think he could get this. I think they're going to let Kirk throw the ball around. Of all the picks this week, this is the one I will regret. In real life, I'm going to play every one of those players, and I'm going to hope to get the majority. Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver 3 is like Kyle Pitts, basically.
Yeah.
They're going to split him out.
And that number is the lowest number for pass catcher on the team. So I find it to be a safe number.
One of those numbers he could get in one catch.
Yep. And so with that, that's going to kind of square us away for week 1. So we got to go into our last pick of the week, which is our touchdown parlay. So last year we won twice out of the 8 or 20 weeks that we did it. And we were less than a unit away. We're in the negative by less than 1 unit after that. So just to remind everyone how it works, we're going to pick a player every single week, put them on the list, and then once a player is used, you can't use them again. Right. And so we're going to put this out as a parlay, but we're also going to count if the winner or loser of the pick against the record as well. So it'll add a win. So it kind of has a little bit more meaning than it did last year than just a parlay. Hopefully, again, we could hit about 3, 4, or 5 of these and really rack up some volume. So, Jamie, you're first.
First pick. My all my bets have kind of skewed towards this game. I'm going to go with Pacheco. Anytime at minus 105. I think he worms his way in there tonight. Oh, that's solid.
And I don't want to take this guy off the board already, but he's probably one of my favorite plays of the week. Almost picked him on the other player side, but the number was a little bit too high. I'm going to take McBride to get a touchdown for Arizona, and that's at plus 160. So, yikes. And that would give us plus 1390 or 1300, 1400 on a parlay. So, not exactly starting out with the easiest picks, which is what I was kind of expecting. But if we start out the season with something like that, that's going to carry us through.
I think there's some strategy here. I think early last year we used a lot of big name guys, and then towards the end of the year, you're kind of struggling to find guys. So save the big guns for later in the year. Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
I'm looking directly at you.
So that's going to kind of close it up for this week. Probably one of our longest weeks of the season with the futures in week 1. Next week, it'll be significantly shorter. Does anybody have any closing comments or anything to put out there before we close up shop?
I have a couple like bonus bets that I wouldn't mind shooting off here.
Shoot 'em off.
Jordan Love over 250 passing yards. Again, the Eagles secondary is terrible. I know. I'm glad I actually didn't take this in the picks that count, because Stone made me change my mind a little bit with the travel and whatnot. But I love to fade these terrible defenses, and if Philly starts winning, it just lets them pass more. So that's all I got. Had to get that one off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's a little. So I think I'm maybe showing my hand a little bit. Does anybody remember what team I loved last year? The Vikings.
The Kirk Cousin effect.
Why?
Is
Yeah, I
is
have a
that
serious attachment to Kirk Cousins from his days in Washington, and he has put
gotta
himself. He always puts himself in a good position to win, and I'm just believe in him. I've won a couple fantasy championships with them. I have a serious Kirk Cousins issue.
in gambling though, you need to let go of your attachments, man. You gotta
Right.
let it go.
Right. It's like everything on my board isn't over. I'm like, it's impossible for them to all be over. Anyway,
Oh no. Listen, if you're third again this year, mark this episode. We're gonna come
yeah,
back to it like week 8 or something, and we're gonna be like, Connor, what the heck?
that's yeah. I wish I was a better. I love it so much. I wish I was better at it, but only time will tell. Now we're getting real numbers together. I'm like, okay, we got to figure this thing out. Anyway, I'm appreciative for everyone following along. Hope everyone comes back for our episodes as the season goes on. I know we have a really good time putting this together, but I'm appreciative of everyone's time, and I'll see you guys next week.